stuff. Everyone needs more stuff. What are we without our stuff? In this video, I'm going to show you 10 things you should get for your setup. The items are within this pile somewhere. Just gotta find them. Item number 1, this is the Smallrig Magic Arm Super Clamp, and this is an iPhone and iPad clamp. Trust me, this is going somewhere. You put an iPad on this end, and it's just nice to have it somewhere where it's just floating clamped to something, especially if it's an old iPad and you don't need to ever move it. My iPad mini is permanently clamped to one of these, and I use it as an alarm clock, so I also have other uses for it, but it's just nice to have it there. That's just me, though. Maybe I'm crazy. USB lights. There's really all kinds of these things. What I used to do is have USB extension cables, a USB switch, and I would have one of these lights on this switch in one of my drawers or somewhere where I can't see. You could run LED strips instead, but this is a little bit less destructive. And you know what you need. Maybe you instantly got an idea when you saw one of these. Maybe I'm just strange. Okay, go away, lights. And then there's this, which is a really cool vacuum cleaner. No, it's not a vacuum cleaner. It's LED light, and it has this mess of stuff. It's what's called a BenQ screen bar. It's not cheap, and I bought it on purpose, but I'd recommend it if it's the kind of thing you would want for your setup. It's reliable, and it does what it's supposed to do, and I haven't had it destroy itself yet, and I've used it for a couple years. Now there's the Stream Deck, which is great, and I use it for so many different things, and it's frankly a mess of different pages and plugins and buttons. It's not the most organized. I try to get it more organized, but every time I try, it just gets worse. I'd recommend the Stream Deck. They recently did a terrible update that made a new plugin store, which is terrible. You need an account for it now. You need to go into your browser to do something that was previously in the app and very seamless. Now it's just clunky and awful. People don't like it. Now this doesn't sound like a recommendation, but the device itself is good, but they recently made the software bad. Previously, I thought Elgato was sort of the Apple of streaming products, where it was all like seamless and nice. My perception of them has been destroyed, and I no longer respect them like I did. But the Stream Deck itself, I highly recommend, just not the software. Out with the Stream Deck, in with the temperature sensor. Now this is something for your setup. Everyone and their grandmother is like, you know what, I'm a YouTuber and I recommend headphones and RGB keyboard and a fake plant for your setup and this thing that looks nice. This is just a thing that tells the temperature. I'm gaming and it's getting awful hot in here. Oh, it's 72 and it should be 40 degrees because I like to freeze. See, nice. Links to everything I'm mentioning will be in the description, by the way. Buying from those links helps out the channel. Oh, and one of these, a label maker. See, you type on it, you hit the print key, and what it does is it prints out a label. This is just a blank one. It has to do a, yeah, E. Nice and labeled. And now I'll always know that my Stream Deck is E. These are just a few things that I've labeled with my label maker. I've even labeled the label makers. That way I can see the different font sizes it has. Small, medium, large. Even though this thing is like 15 years old, they're basically all the same and they still take the same refills. So I'll link the refills I'd recommend and a labeler below. But it really is nice to be organized. And once you've labeled something, it's labeled forever. Now I know that this is WD-40. It actually is WD-40 in here, so I would not recommend taking a sip. The next thing. This is a remote that controls power outlets. It controls power outlets. See, on, off, and then the light behind my Mac on and off. I have a fan this thing controls, and in the wintertime, I have a heater that I can turn on and off with just this remote. And people use these for their Christmas trees. I use it because I think it's nice to be able to turn anything you plug into a wall off with the remote. And if you're wondering why the tape, that kind of leads us into our next thing that I'm going to talk about, which is this, a magnetic hook. If you have anything around your setup that is magnetic, that you can stick a magnet onto, this is a neodymium magnet, very strong magnet, and anything that I'm able to hang up, I hang on these hooks, and it allows me to, you know, have it in a place that's convenient. You can find screws to screw in instead of the hooks for the magnet, so this way I'm able to put something like a comb. That's what I actually use this particular hook for, so that way before I start recording, you know, I can beautify myself, and sometimes I forget, but I can, and you should subscribe. Drawer separators. Oh, get away, USB port, we don't need you. This lives right next to my camera monitor. I have SD cards, batteries, random parts, things that I'm too lazy to put away. In my big drawer on my desk, I have billions of these taped together together so I can fit infinite amounts of things in a little drawer. Now, this isn't just like a fake productivity, I have an Instagram account and my setup looks nice sort of organization. I try to fit as much stuff into my space as possible, and it helps to be able to just have things in a place and I know where they are when I need them, especially camera batteries and SD cards. Since I use iPads in my setup, I actually use 5 of them because I'm a normal person. They're all old, so it's not like I have infinite amounts of money. These are 2 first-generation iPad 1s, and they have right angle lightning cables, which is what this next thing is. And if you are fancy enough to have a newer iPad, then right angle USB-C cables. I'll put both in the description below. It's nice to not have a huge port sticking out of the side. It's just nice to have some things right angled, and for this particular purpose, it just kind of lowers the footprint. The cable is actually routed behind the iPad, so if you have it on your desk, you will not actually see the cable because the iPad will hide it. There we go. And that was 10 gadgets for the ultimate desk setup. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys, well, this Saturday for another video.